be talking to you about why you should be spending money on going to music festivals. So before I tell you more about that, I want to tell you a little bit about one of my first experiences kind of traveling somewhere where I was able to kind of just get a lot of entertainment just thrown at me. So when I was 6 years old, I planned, or I didn't, my parents planned my first Disneyland trip with my whole family. And it was a very, very anticipated trip just because we set it for the summer just because, I mean, at the time I was 6. I'm pretty sure I was like in preschool, if not before then. But my sister, she was actually in school at the time. So she was in first grade, and we were waiting on her to get on summer break because for me it didn't really matter because I was still in school. But we were waiting for her to get on summer break just so we could get the vacation time off and go. So we got our plane tickets, and it was something that was set in stone that come June, that was the first place that we were going to go. We were going to go to Disneyland. And at the time, I didn't really know what Disneyland was. And I mean, obviously I grew up with like Mickey Mouse and whatnot, but I just knew kind of like the character. I didn't know that there was like this place where you could just go and kind of indulge yourself in just happiness like for 24 hours. So finally the day came. It was the day before the music, or the day before Disneyland. And my mom was haggling me to go to sleep just because she was saying that we had a flight early in the morning, and I could count down the hours. I mean, at the time it was like, I want to say 9 or 10, but I mean, when you're 6 years old, that's like 4 or 5 in the morning, you know? So I was just like impatient, ready to go. And finally the time came, we got on our flight, got to Los Angeles, got our hotel, and then after went straight to Disneyland. And from what I remember, it was just an amazing experience just because it's like going inside, everyone was happy. Like there was a line of kids just like waiting to get inside, and it was like, doors hadn't opened and there was already lines ready to go inside. And finally I go inside, and it was just a whole day full of just fun. There wasn't a time that I don't remember that I was not smiling. So there was definitely just a bunch of rides, there was a bunch of food, there was a bunch of people from like all over, places that I've never even heard of, and then they were all here just to kind of get the same experience that I was getting, which was just, I mean, fun. So the day went on, and I mean, I remember the last thing that I saw was Tinkerbell in the sky with like the fireworks happening, and that was just like such a like pivotal moment in my life because I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like I see this in the Disney movies all the time, and I'm actually here. I was on my dad's shoulders, and it was amazing. So fast forward 13 years later, it was July 30th, 2014. I had just graduated high school, and I was going to my first music festival. And believe it or not, it was something similar in the sense that I felt like I was going to like Disneyland again. I thought that after Disneyland, that was kind of going to be the last of it because I kind of grew out of the whole Disney scene, believe it or not. But I never thought that I was going to get something that I wanted to feel like so excited to go to and kind of have it happen and wait like a whole year to go there, and finally it happened. So I bought my tickets the first semester of my senior year, and then finally the day came. And similar story, the day before I was like impatient. This time I actually stayed up until like 5 or 6 in the morning because I was like so antsy to go. And finally we get there, we got on a road trip with me and my friends, got to our Airbnb this time. And then after we did the whole thing, 2 days full of just happiness. And it was like a lot of similar things that I noticed within both of the Disneyland trip and my music festival trip. But as soon as we got there, doors hadn't even opened and there was lines of people already waiting. There was a bunch of food that I hadn't ever heard of and seen. Like I remember I discovered lobster mac and cheese for the first time there, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I mean, Instagram wasn't that big at the time, but I'm pretty sure I've taken a picture or two. But much like for when I went to Disneyland, everything was just kind of like new to me, and there was rides, there was people from all over the country, all over the cities around the area and whatnot. And just like my ending in Disneyland, it ended with fireworks as well. And I mean, even though I wasn't on shoulders, because I mean now at this point I was like this feet tall, there was other people definitely on shoulders, and I was like, wow, that's so cool that I mean it still happens. And it's something that I left and I wanted to go back just because I never thought that I was going to get that whole Disneyland feeling again. So people don't necessarily listen to only one genre of music, which is why I loved going to that music festival so much, because I was able to indulge in like a bunch of different varieties of music. I was able to get rap, I was able to get hip hop, R&B, indie, EDM, all in one place. And actually at Northwestern University, there was a study that showed that better listeners process more beats, and this is obviously because when you're listening to music, what you listen into classical music, you're not going to listen to the same instruments that come from, you know, rap or EDM. So it's definitely like triggering different parts of your brain to kind of work, and you know, the whole left and right sided. It definitely builds more on the creativity side of your brain. So it engages, like I said, more parts of the brain, and it's able to tag into more emotions. That's why whenever you listen to a song and you were happy at the time, you could listen to that same song like in 2 years and listen to it again, and then you're gonna think, wow, I'm like happy again. Why am I happy? It's because of that study that proved that. So like I said, you know, you listen to a song and you feel happy. It was also actually proven that in a study at Victoria University, they surveyed 1,000 Australians, and they came to the conclusion that people that go to music festivals as opposed to concerts, they experience higher levels of satisfaction in their lives. And this was due to the fact that they felt that people that go to music festivals, they feel like they're being performed for, and it's like something that's put on for them. And I actually was able to interview a UK DJ by the name of Hannah Wants, and she even told me that she kind of liked better, you can read this quote, she kind of liked better being in the crowd, listening to the music, just because she felt like it was like a show for her. She felt like she was having fun and being happy in that moment. So music festivals, they also lead to a lot of self-expression, believe it or not. You wouldn't believe how many music festivals are made every year, different ones every year. So different things that a lot of music festivals have been kind of tapping into, aside from just doing music. Some, like Lightning in the Bottle and Coachella, they do yoga. I mean, obviously there's the dancing factor where, I mean, you're gonna go and, you know, get your boogie on, try to do whatever you learned in school or whatnot. And then also the wardrobe. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I spend like a good 2 to 3 months prepping for music festivals like Coachella, because it's like, I mean, people like Vanessa Hudgens and Kylie Jenner set the standard so high for like these kind of influencer roles that I kind of, you know, tapped into that, so I know, sorry. But also singing along, you know, whenever you're in the crowd, you're gonna listen to your favorite songs, you're gonna be able to self-express by singing. And you also get to relive a lot of these moments whenever you're at music festivals, just because, well, like, I would assume that the place that you go to college, it's probably not the place that you grew up in. So it was actually proved in another study that 80% of the people that graduate, they end up going home after graduating from their college town. So with that being said, you probably aren't going to be with the friends that you were with in college. So music festivals are a great place to kind of rekindle that flame and kind of get everyone together in one place. I know my best friend, he graduated college 3 years ago, and he still plans music festivals like Lightning in a Bottle and Coachella, and that's where he sees his college homies like every year, and that's like the only time that he gets to see them, just because everyone is able to coordinate for that one time that everyone can see each other. And lastly, I would say that music festivals, they definitely give a big ROI. For those that don't know what that means, it's a return on investment. Financially, I went to Coachella, as I mentioned before, and on day one alone, there was 10 acts that I saw, and the numbers next to them calculate to the amount of money it costs for one ticket for just a concert outside of being in a festival. So accumulated all together, I would have spent $405 just for one day for watching all these artists at different times, when I could have just gone to one day of Coachella. And I spent $400 on a 3-day ticket, and I ended up seeing about 30 artists, and I got basically $5 off. But like I said, day two, I ended up seeing Beyonce actually, so. Beyonce alone cost $350. Like, that's crazy. That's face value, $350. So with 10 artists and Beyonce, I would have spent $755 that I don't have. So I mean, why not spend just the $400 and save yourself, you know, $355 and kind of, you know, make up your money's worth and be able to see a few more artists. But what a lot of people don't realize, that even though you are spending that money to go see all these artists, what kind of, like, leading back to everything, you kind of pay for that feeling of Disneyland, that you're kind of just like happy in a moment, and it's like nothing exists except for like the Tinkerbell in the sky, you know? It's like, whoever your Tinkerbell is, whether it be like Beyonce, SZA, I don't know, Lil Wayne, it's like you're paying for that moment, that experience, that friendship, that happiness that allows you to kind of self-express and just enjoy something for 3 days and get away from everything that's kind of tearing you down. So go to music festivals. You save money.